Yeah, does anyone who is currently on the Future Facilities Task Force, Isaac, if you want to
Talking about the
talk a little bit
makeup?
about
or-
the purpose of the task force itself?
Well, I mean, the task force started meeting over
You
the
stand
year,
up,
in September of last year, sure. The task force started meeting in September of last year, and each school board trustee was included, able to appoint a member to the task force. That way they can speak to their appointee throughout the year from 2014. So all the trustees had the opportunity to make an appointment. We met starting in September. Then we also had sub-task force meetings to really work with a district-provided demographer. We met with financial experts. Estrada Hosa provided a lot of the numbers that we pulled for the recommendation. And then it really was just, how do we improve the district? How do we take a holistic approach that's data-driven to make a bigger impact? Throughout those meetings, we presented what we thought was the best plan at that time for the district. And then at that point, all the appointees from the trustees were also allowed to voice either concerns or bring up things that they thought maybe weren't right with the plan. After moving forward with what we consider was the best plan, that's when we submitted it to the school board. But it's a 27-member trustee. There's people from the city of Dallas. There's architects. There's principals, teachers, financial people. It was a good diverse mix of people also that were part of the panel.
Do you know what principals were on there?
There were 3 principals, one of them, and I'm blanking on their names, I don't know the names off the top of my head, but there were 3 principals. One
What
represented
areas?
elementary school, one represented middle school.
All of
one represented high
elementary,
school.
one represented all of middle, and one represented all of high school.
Correct,
Not
there's 27, I'll answer your question, there's 27 members, so obviously we can't have, I wish we had a
Right.
principal for every school, that'd be
No, I
fantastic.
don't mean for every school, but there wasn't one per, like North representing South Dallas interests and.
No,
North-
we had South Dallas interest, I mean,
But
each
not,
trustee
but
had.
not by
an appointment.
principals.
By principals, I don't know the school, so I can answer that question honestly.
Mr. Fox, one thing that seems very different is in 2008, the actual voting committee was not 27 people. There was lots of administration input, lots of people in the room from administration, but that makes it really hard for of a 27 group, their committee, of only 9 appointees to really have their voice heard.
Well, no, I disagree with you because the administration was there at all our meetings. We had experts talk about early childhood education. We had
Right.
public school choice.
Okay.
We had people from
No,
the
but
administration.
what I'm
Let me finish
saying-
my answer
yeah.
really quick. We had administration people talk about
No,
career
I know
technical
that.
education. So we had several administration people. We had the financial
Right.
person from the administration. So it wasn't, we weren't meeting in silos.
No, I know administration was there. I'm saying that administration, employees of the district were not official members, that many official members in 2008. That makes a bit of an imbalanced committee, especially when you had a superintendent who was pushing his own agenda onto this committee. Even if you had a representative from each trustee, that's 9 to 18. That's tough to get your voice out there and heard without it being lost. The committee was not that big in 2008.
Who picked the 18? Because the question was, the trustees were asked for 9. It was called an administrative task force. It wasn't even
Right.
a true committee of the whole, a real board representative basis, which by the way would probably fall under the Texas Open Meetings Act. And I was just asking Trustee Plata about the past, because those were all public meetings. Your group did not hold one public meeting of the body. It held meetings out in the public to talk to the schools and so forth. I attended several of those, which many of your people weren't even there. But you all as a body, who picked the 18? I mean, we know where the 9 came from, but who picked the 18?
Good question.
How were they pulled together? And then the second thing is, did you ever take a vote as a body on the plan that you then brought to the board?
Okay, the first answer to your question is the administration picked the other 18.
There you go.
Okay.
Mike Miles.
There were parents on there. There were 27 members. Many of those are parents. The second answer to your question is no, we didn't take an official raise your hand and vote.
No, a public process requires,
Let me
as
ask
a
you
body with 27 representatives,
Yeah.
who each represent a specific constituency of stakeholders, no problem with that, that's typical process. Did you take a vote and formally, as a body, adopt the plan that was later brought to the board.
And that's what I was answering. The second answer to your question is we never raised our hand and took a vote on a plan. We presented to the body, to the 27 member people that were appointed, and everyone had a chance to voice their concerns at those meetings.
And were those,
So, but-
in those
but
meetings, there were no
logistically,
minutes,
you're asking
there
a
were no
logistic- let me
minutes of the
finish, please.
meeting,
You're asking a
right?
logistic question. We never raised a hand and said, I support this or I don't support this.
So there were no public meetings of the body, there was no attendance taken.
There was attendance taken.
But there was no
People signed it.
quorum. You didn't follow traditional rules, and these were not public meetings. The public could not access any aspect of the work of the body. Is that true?
With these meetings, we had people walk in. at the
No.
meetings.
Were they publicly posted under Texas Open Meetings Act?
Well,
You're a
there weren't
lawyer,
elected
Isaac.
officials, there weren't elected officials there. We weren't trustees, we didn't have a quorum per se. These are meetings from the task force. They
You're
didn't-
a
they
public,
didn't have-
you're public representatives.
This was
I understand that, and I'm trying to answer your question. We did not have, those meetings were not posted. And it's my understanding they weren't required to be posted.
If you were working on behalf of the school district, an open records request showed that there are no meeting minutes from this task force. So those minutes should absolutely be public record. But my
I
question,
agree. I
my
would say there were
question
minutes.
to you is, why did the task force choose not to take a vote before presenting to the trustees? Why did you not do that? That's the question. That's
I don't
pretty.
know, I don't think we didn't just make an affirmative decision not to do it. The way we met and convened our meetings with all the people that attended, it was just, that's the process that we did. I mean, it's something, I agree, the process is never perfect, and maybe there's things that we could have done differently. But for
That
these,
just
for
seems
these,
like a simple.
I know, for these, and I'm trying to answer your question, for these meetings, that's what happened. We didn't say I vote yes or I vote no.
So when you actually did the prioritization,
Let some other people.
well,
Go ahead.
this is, I was a sitting trustee at the time, and this really was something of consequence, I believe, because the public, the board, even its appointed committees, still have to operate under the Texas Open Meetings Act. There is no shortcut here. The fact that this particular structure that was used this go-around was administrative changed everything, and it was done insular and not with the transparency that is typical to this process. So you all made recommendations. You said there were subcommittees, but there's no minutes, there's no documentation, there's no body of knowledge of work product that came from you all back to the board. So, for example, boundaries. There's a bunch of recommendations. Who did the work? Where did the logic of those recommendations come from, and where's the supporting evidence? None of that was presented, and that's the concern.
That's
So
what
your
it feels
question was
like
who
a
did the
backroom
work, and
deal.
your question was who did the work?
Did the entire body do the work,
I just wanna
or
make sure I'm
3
getting the
people?
question right. Who did the work, right? The question was who did the work? So obviously, as I said earlier, we had a demographer from the district work with us, and we did talk about boundaries. We did talk about if the boundary lines were to shift, how would that look when we looked at schools? But we had a demographer work with us. And then the products that we were submitting to the board, they were posted online. So if you look at some of the work product, when we presented to the board, that was posted online.
After the
Now, I agree, after the fact. Again,
With
I think
no
the process
documentation.
the process maybe could have been better. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But that's the work product. It was posted online when we had to present.
But where did you go to the public with it during the process?
Well, the public, I agree, the public input started in the spring, May.
Right, and on the demographers from the district, just on that, like.
But these people raised their hand. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but people have been raising their hand and we have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My name is Anthony, Reverend Anthony Nolan. I pastor Paradise Baptist Church over in Singing Hills. And this is just a question to the board. Why would the board put an election to the public and proper protocols hadn't been followed? Maybe you guys don't know what to do, on your advisory team, but the board does. And why would the board put an election to the public and proper protocols hadn't been followed?
I voted against.
Well, those that voted for it, can you answer that?
Okay, so, whatever, Aaron.
I think there's still a need to have funds to make additions, to build new schools and things of that nature. The program may not be as tight as we'd like for it to have been. The process may not be the way it should be. And, you know, we can put it off for another 6 months, we can put it off for another year. Just know that we will still have the same problem someone said earlier.
Just
Can I
a
just-
real quick addendum to that, just real quick, a bond that, a successful bond in our mind and the coalition that I represent, would, the portable problem in the southern sector of town, portable.
Oh, yes,
A
yes, yes.
bond will significantly reduce the portable problem. And if we don't have a bond that does that, then that's not the bond for us.
And that's what this bond does.
No,
portables and y'all
I
are not.
know, we have individual meetings with all trustees. We've got meetings with all trustees, and there is money in
Can I
the
say
budget.
something real quick in regard to his question, and I think the president should be able to answer the question too. There is always a spin on what people say. When I say I'm not for this bond, doesn't mean I'm not for a bond.
Right.
I want to fix our schools. Our schools do need to be fixed. But what I am is I'm practical in that I did not think we were ready to go to the public. And I wanted us to do more work. And yes, I'm being loud because I'm emotional about our kids.
Amen.
Mr. Blackburn, I think everybody in this room wants a bond for the kids, but I think we want those 1.6 billion, which is really more, bond dollars spent the most efficiently way, an equitable way that they can be spent. And that's what this group is not happy about. And that's why we're saying, push it out 6 months, push it out a year, because you know, you're right. The same problems will still be there, and then we'll address them with a more equitable, fleshed out, efficient, transparent proposal.
Okay, one more question for Marion, and then we're gonna move on, okay?
Yes. Who has those records, the minutes or the sign-in sheets or the people who were assigned to the subcommittees and the subcommittee meeting dates and all of those? Who has those records?
Well, I think someone said earlier there weren't any minutes available through an open records
So I
request.
know, I did the open records
Okay,
request.
so then I don't know who would have those.
Yeah, but
records.
you said that,
I'm
there
gonna
were
answer your question in
subcommittees.
order.
I
I'm
know.
answering your question in
All
order.
right.
So then the sign-in sheet, I know we signed in every time we had a meeting at the beginning, everyone's supposed to sign in, so we can keep count of which appointees were there attending the meeting. So that, the administration should have all those records. Well, the specific person, I don't know who the specific person would be. But I promise you that when we walked in, everyone had to sign their name as we began.
And the subcommittees as well?
The subcommittees, no, we didn't sign in on the subcommittees one. But
And how were those assigned?
they were signed by the other co-chair of the trustee. He also asked a few people and spoke to different people on the bond to participate on some of the subcommittees.
What are some of the subcommittee names?
There weren't any names. I mean, we took a look at different things. We looked at some of the demographics.
Yeah, the
with
names
the
of the committees,
demographers.
what was subcommittee, what did they?
And we just said it was a subcommittee.
It was just one subcommittee
Addressing
itself.
That I knew there was one. I mean, I think there might have been another more
But
finance
my facilities
focused.
person didn't serve on any subcommittees at
Yeah.
all, and he didn't even know about this.
No, I know Bob was on the task force and I mean, he didn't serve on the subcommittee. I didn't make that decision. I mean, that's gotta be the big question.
So who made it?
I don't know. I think that comes down to the co-chair, our other co-chair, and some of the people said, okay, let's have a subcommittee so we can sort of laser focus in on some of these questions.
You're the co-chair.
There's two co-chairs.
Two, you and another guy,
Correct,
or lady. And you guys had meetings, and there was agendas,
Yep,
and there were sign-in sheets,
correct.
and there were minutes.
The minutes, no.
But we don't know where the agendas or sign-in sheets are.
Well, I know the agenda was posted on our, what's it called? The folder, the Dropbox. So there's agendas that were in a Dropbox, so the agenda should be available through the
How would I
administration.
find that as a concerned citizen, as a concerned citizen, how would I find and be able to attend those?
That's a great question. I think that's an administration.
Okay, so, one thing, you said something about demographers from the district. In my 15 years' experience in working with district demographers, the data was never right. Like, you saying that, and the early childhood expert, who I think is somebody who has never worked in early childhood, who doesn't even know, you just said two things to me that you guys brought in that makes me think that data's not correct.
Well,
I mean,
we have-
15 years of budgeting and using this, our numbers were never right.
Yeah.
Never. And what we actually had was right. And I would go in every year budget and argue. 15 years of that.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that what those demographers or whoever gave you is accurate information. Like, just on 15 years' experience. I mean, I don't have a lot, and I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but
So I don't know, I don't know if there was a
I
question
did.
or there was a comment. I don't know if there was a question or a comment, but you're right, I don't know all the
and
history.
who was
of
the early
the
childhood
bios.
expert?
Alan Cohen was one of the early
Okay,
childhood experts.
so based on his experience, which is limited,
Which I don't know
See,
his,
so-
I don't
so-
know his resume
right, so you're saying we brought in an expert.
I didn't know when
from
Burgess
the
was.
district, from the district.
From the
correct.
district, they're saying it's an expert, but he had, okay.
Let's just move on to the
Okay.
next topic. 20 more slides.
We got 20 more slides. 20 more slides.
Hold on. We need to be back. Yeah.